So you might have heard someone before tell you that you need to eat more calories to lose weight. And you might have been confused because it doesn't make sense because we've been told all our lives from every physician that we know and every health professional that we know that in order for you to lose weight, you need to eat less. And yes, if you overeat, you need to eat less because in a calorie deficit, that's where weight loss happens. So, generally speaking, to create a caloric deficit or a calorie deficit, you need to eat less. So, what I always like to say is if you are 400 pounds, you don't become 400 pounds by under eating. You become 400 pounds by overeating in excess for a very long time and being very unactive for a equally long time. However, some of you may be told or may have been told, and I've told plenty of clients, the reason why you're not losing weight is because you're not eating enough. Now, not losing weight obviously is different than gaining weight. But some of my clients will tell me that they're gaining weight when in actuality, they're not losing weight. So what they'll see is let's say the weight today is 150, and then next week it'll be 152. And then the week after, it'll be back down to 150. And then it'll go up to 151. And then it'll go out down to 149. And then the next week, it'll go up to 140 or 150. So that is what we call weight fluctuations. So in this example, there's no real weight gain, but there's also no real weight loss. Now, what I oftentimes tell my clients is that this signifies a slowdown in your metabolism. So you need to consume more. You need to provide your body with more energy so it can do what you want to do, which is lose weight, because the weight loss process does require energy. Now, oftentimes, I use the analogy of a lawnmower for a slowed metabolism. You know, not one of those newer lawnmowers, and I don't really mow lawn, so I don't really know, but when I was a kid, I had to mow lawn. And I remember, when you pull on that string, and every time you pull on that cord, it goes, and it goes, and that pull on that cord, every time you hear that almost start, that is your metabolism fluctuating. Now, even as you start to provide your body with more nutrition, because your body requires more calories to speed up your metabolism. Right now, you're not giving your body enough to do what you want it to do, which is lose weight. So every time you pull, that's your metabolism trying to get going. So you start giving your body a little bit more calories, a little bit more nutrition, and it gets a little louder, and it sounds like it wants to start. And once it goes, and it starts up, that starting up is your body adapting, finally adjusting to those new calories. And now you start to lose weight. So one of the things I tell all my clients is that initially, one of the things that you might see, and I tell my clients this is a good thing, is that when you start eating more, one of the things you may notice is you may start to gain weight initially, or you just may notice that your weight's not moving. So I tell my clients that if you are in a severely calorie restricted state and you've been there for a long time, and I've read studies that say that for every year that you've been on a severely calorie restricted diet, it could take up to 90 days for your metabolism to correct itself. So if you've been quote unquote starving yourself of the amount of nutrition that it really needs for years, it could take you a while for this starting up of your metabolism, that pulling of that cord on that lawnmower, to actually take effect. But what you will notice is that over time, you'll start to notice that your weight, with giving your body more calories, regardless of how long it takes, you will start to notice that your weight will start coming down. Now, the biggest problem with this is most people just aren't patient enough. They don't give the process enough time to work. So they think if they start eating a little bit more and they don't, excuse me, and they don't see immediate changes, it doesn't work. and then they go right back to what they were doing because what they were doing worked at one point. But what they notice is they never move forward. They never actually lose any weight, but they really never actually gain any weight either. And oftentimes what they're used to is what's comfortable, even though it's not working. So if you're noticing that even though you're eating less and you're exercising, but you're not losing weight, and someone has told you before, whether it be a doctor or another coach or a friend, you're probably not eating enough, it could be true. And here's a simple test. Your weight, when you step on the scale, your weight's going to do one of three things. Your weight's going to go up, it's going to stay the same, or it's going to go down. Now, if your weight is going up, and what I mean by that is week over week, every time you weigh yourself, your weight goes up a little bit. Even if it's only by a few points, every time you weigh yourself, your weight goes up. That is a good sign that you're not in a caloric deficit and you are over consuming or you're not active enough. Either way, you are gaining weight because there's too many calories in and there's not enough going out. So you probably, in that instance, need to eat less or you need to move more. Now, if your goal is weight loss and your weight is going down every week over week, you're noticing that your weight is going down. You're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, it's a process of elimination. We've eliminated the weight going up as the problem because your weight's not going up. You're just not losing any weight. We've eliminated eating the right amount because if you were eating the right amount, you'd be losing weight. So the only other option is that you're not giving yourself enough. You're not eating enough. So if you're in this boat, I would recommend giving it a try, eating a little bit more and seeing what happens. If you start eating more and your weight does not move, this could be seen as a good thing. If you're eating more and you notice a little bit of increase in your weight, and if you're checking your body fat, what you'll also notice is that even if your weight, and oftentimes this is what I notice with my clients, is that their weight starts creeping up, but their body fat doesn't creep up. And actually, oftentimes their body fat starts going down. This is a good thing because when people talk about losing weight, ultimately that's what they want to lose. They want to lose fat. So you may be noticing this if you've been told, bottom line, if you've been told before that you probably need to eat more, that's why you're not losing weight, there could be some truth to it. So give it a try. And if you need any help with this topic or more, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and the two of us will figure out what we need to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to be.